It's always annoying. You come to a video and all of a sudden I realize, oh no, I'm wearing green. So you've got my bizarre floating head for this video, probably the next one as well. But I've talked about more on this channel quite a bit, really, for at least, if not the past year, if not the least year and a bit, that there is a Tory civil war coming. Well, I think now, given what we're going to be talking about today, I think the no confidence vote, when we look back at this period, will have been the start of the Tory civil war. Now, of course, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Unfortunately, we never really do. We only hear sort of the rumors, the whispers, and the rumors upon rumors of plots of what these Tory MPs, or these rebel, shall we say, Tory MPs are indeed going to do. But they have made it quite clear. They are under very much the impression, if they do not get rid of Johnson sooner rather than later, they are fearful that the Tory party will go into a full and complete collapse. And not only that, we've said before, once Johnson goes, there is going to be a full-on bare-knuckle fight for the future and indeed the very direction in which the, shall we say, the parliamentary members want to take the Conservative Party, because they are split massively along ideological grounds, political grounds, and even policy grounds of what they want. And even if, let's say, Liz Truss gets in, which she's still the favourite to win, there's no guarantee she can control what is going to be this huge rump of a party, because even if she gets the top job, she is going to be, well, come out of that leadership contest being very brutally beaten. Not, of course, beaten for the job, but beaten, shall we say, in a metaphorically way, by all the stuff, the insults, the mudslinging. And like I say, this is going to be an absolute brutal fight to select who is going to become the next Tory leader. But let's go into, shall we say, the story today to find out more about the not so secret Tory civil war anymore. So before we do go diving into that, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off link called Buy Me Coffee. We can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that way. And of course, down below, there is the YouTube subscription button where you get all sorts of little bells and whistles and emojis and badges. And of course, the YouTube thank you button as well. So on with today's story. This comes from The Guardian with the title of Ruthlessly Organised. Tory rebels plot a 1922 takeover to oust Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson is facing a fresh threat from the Conservative rebels planning a takeover of the powerful backbench committee that could force the Prime Minister from office. Opponents of Johnson, including some who were loyal to him in as recently as last week, have set their sights on a, quote, clean sweep of the 1922 committee amid a hardening of the mood against the Prime Minister. Imagine that. People who were loyal to him as recently as just a week ago have now said, we've got to get rid of him. Those two by-elections have put the fear into the Tory party because, as we've said before, what happened at those by-elections was the Tory nightmare, the collapsing of the Red Wall and the collapse of the Blue Wall, which, if they lost all those seats, would leave them with something like 72, 73 MPs. And that's, of course, if they can keep those seats. So, yeah, interesting times certainly ahead. Anyway, it continues. The committee has the power to change the rules to allow a new vote of no confidence in Johnson within 12 months, and as soon as this autumn. in a secret ballot to decide its executive members, which will be held within 3 weeks. Rebels hope to seize all 18 positions that are up for grabs. So certainly this is something we have to keep an eye on. The contest will be viewed as a proxy vote on whether the Prime Minister should face another no-confidence ballot, after this month saw more than 40% of his MPs oppose him. Opposition to Johnson has hardened in the past week after a disastrous double by-election loss, his open pursuit of a third term, and a series of scandals. Two previous supporters of the Prime Minister told The Guardian that they would not back him in another confidence vote. While negotiations have begun to agree to a unified slate that would ratchet up the pressure on the Prime Minister to quit, several, quote, pork pie plotters, a group of Tory MPs elected back in 2019 who met to discuss Johnson's demise in February, have recommended talks. Others caucuses, such as the One Nation Conservatives and the Thatcherite 92 group, have also been quietly approached to ensure the slate reflects a broad range of MPs. So already, as we've been talking before when we've discussed this, there are, the ERG used to be the party within the party, but now there are parties within the parties. That's two different groups we've just talked about there. So you can just see how fractured the Tory party really is on this. Anyway, let's get back to it. There we are. The campaign to oust Johnson in the last no confidence vote was disjointed, but rebels are said to be getting ruthlessly organised. Among those considering a run for the 1922 committee are 5 Tory MPs who have been critical of Johnson's handling of the Partygate scandal. Steve Baker and Andrew Brigden have also declared their intention to run. Others contemplating the same include Aaron Bell, who submitted a letter of no confidence in Johnson in February, and Paul Holmes, who quit as the ministerial aide over Partygate. Chris Green, a former minister, who said that Johnson faced the greatest political challenge to survival after the recent no confidence vote, is also planning to stand. One MP said, "We've got to make sure this is done properly. There's no room for mistakes like last time. We need to make sure there isn't a split in the vote because there will almost be certainly be a pro-Boris slate too." Only backbenchers are allowed to vote in the 1922 committee election, and whose likely date could be announced next Wednesday. The MPs crunching the numbers from the last no confidence vote believe that given the 41% called for Johnson to quit, that most in government can be relied on to have remained loyal. The vast majority of those who will get a say in the 1922 committee elections are opposed to his leadership. Some of the current members of that committee are understood to want to cut the time Johnson is immune from another challenge from his premiership from 12 months. While the controversial move would not happen immediately, it would be a possible emergency course should Johnson be damaged further by the Privileges Committee investigation whether he misled Parliament over Partygate. The 1922 committee has an 18-strong leadership group of about 10 current executive members. The 4 have been seen publicly supported of the Prime Minister. 2 have stepped down after becoming parliamentary private secretaries, and 5 of the committee's 6 officers are believed to have opposed Johnson. While some rebels say they are wanting a clean sweep of the positions, one insisted it was not about kicking off all pro-Boris members, but ensuring that there were significant numbers who would be open to listening to how people generally feel. Government whips are understood to be very keen to avoid appearing to interfere in the selection process, but supporters of the Prime Minister's fear that the contest will have echoes of the no confidence vote, and when his allies in government are seen to be being too hands off, there's a, quote, misplaced confidence going on again, one admitted. While the distraction about whether or not to change the rules will be up to the new committee, the former Tory party leader Ian Duncan Smith said it would be, quote, shifty for the decision to be taken out of a handful of MPs. He called instead for the full parliamentary party to be balloted on such a move. Some rebels are uncomfortable about the, quote, changing of the rules at the middle of the game, and instead insisted they wanted to use other mechanisms, including putting pressure on the Conservative Association chairs and party donors to publicly call for the Prime Minister to be replaced. Every day Boris goes on is another day wasted when we could be having a leadership contest and be drawing a line under this, said one. A slate of anti-Johnson candidates could also rile some wavering Conservative MPs who believe the 1922 committee should assist with the boundary and selection issues rather than focusing on maintaining on leadership issues. Johnson has lost some supporters over the past week due to the recent by-election results, which saw the Tories lose Wakefield and West Yorkshire, and of course Tiverton and Houghton in Devon, prompting the resignation of the party co-chair Oliver Dowden. Their anger was further compounded by the Prime Minister saying that he was going to, quote, actively thinking about a third term. His refusal to undergo a psychological transformation and the sleaze scandals, including allegations he tried to secure taxpayer-funded jobs for his partner and secure £150,000 from a party donor to build a treehouse at Chequers. Earlier this week, Johnson refused to comment on the unhappiness of some MPs, saying that he would not engage in political commentary. Some backbenchers who voted against him earlier this month have said that they will respect the result and urge colleagues to do the same. Andrea Leadsom, the former business secretary, told the BBC on Wednesday, saying, "There was a confidence vote, he won it. Whether the media like it or not, we then move on." And the thing is, we've talked about this before. Johnson is a scandal magnet. You know, the select committee, the stuff that's come about Carrie Johnson, the stuff that's coming out again about his the donor giving money to build a tree house at Chequers. It just keeps on and on and on and on. And there has to come a tipping point. And I think we've really reached it. I really do think we have, where even Conservative MPs, even allies of Boris Johnson, as you said there at the beginning, some allies who were his allies last week have now gone, no, we can't keep him. They know full well, as was said there, the second we get rid of him, it's more time we can be having a leadership contest and just drawing a line under Boris Johnson's leadership. But there's still this bizarre refusal to get rid of him by, unfortunately, a lot of Conservative MPs. Obviously, the last no confidence vote, it was 41, but I don't know if the no confidence vote would be held today or tomorrow. Would have Boris Johnson lost had they waited until after these by-election results? It's possible, but the fact that you are now getting Tory MPs organised to oust Boris, this is exactly what happened under Theresa May. First of all, there was the disorganisation. Then the ERG started to organise properly and start to go, we are going to get rid of Theresa May. This is the direction we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. So make no mistake, in 3 weeks' time, we will probably see who gets on the 1922 committee, who wins those seats. But make no mistake, I think if they do that, they will change the rules, and we will probably be seeing another no confidence vote. Probably when in certainly the autumn time, where the Standards and Privileges Committee starts to weigh in on Boris Johnson over Partygate, because we are going to be hearing even more stuff, because they are going to be investigating the flat parties that not only the Met did not investigate, but neither did Sue Gray investigate. So we will be hearing and seeing a lot more stuff about Partygate. This is far from over. And whether Boris Johnson wants to realise it or not, his premiership is over. The only thing that is keeping, Boris Johnson in power is currently his willingness to say, I am going to carry on regardless. But as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.